Governments today aren't collapsing. They're losing something more fundamental, their ability to explain themselves. As interpretive authority shifts from institutions to computational systems, a new condition emerges: the administrative vacuum. This is governance without interpretation. The administrative vacuum appears when institutions continue to function operationally, but can no longer narrate, justify, or contextualize their actions. It's not an absence of governance, it's an absence of meaning. In the post-web era, states still issue policies, enforce regulations, and manage systems, but they can't explain why things happen, how decisions are made, or what their actions mean. Interpretation collapses even as administration continues. Three structural forces create the administrative vacuum. First, epistemic fragmentation. Shared information environments dissolve. The state's voice becomes one among millions. Second, declining narrative coherence. Government messaging competes with algorithmic feeds, decentralized commentary, and AI-generated explanations. The state no longer sets the narrative, it reacts to it. Third, loss of interpretive monopoly. Historically, governments define the meaning of their actions. Now, meaning is outsourced to platforms, algorithms, and public speculation. The state still acts, but it no longer interprets. When interpretive power collapses, states adapt in predictable ways: procedural overcompensation, more documentation, more compliance, more formalization. These actions create the appearance of control without restoring meaning. Administrative drift. Institutions continue operating, but without interpretive clarity, their actions appear arbitrary or contradictory. Symbolic governance. Governments shift toward performative gestures, actions meant to signal competence rather than achieve outcomes. Reactive legitimacy management. Confusion triggers defensive messaging, crisis framing, and narrative containment. These responses often deepen distrust. The administrative vacuum produces motion without meaning. In the administrative vacuum, citizens turn to artificial intelligence to explain governmental behavior. People ask AI, "Why did this policy happen? Why did this agency fail? Why is the system so slow? Why does the state behave this way?" AI becomes the primary interpreter of governance. But AI is vulnerable to hallucination, institutional bias, conspiratorial drift, narrative oversimplification. Without structure, AI cannot reliably interpret the state. This is where independent diagnostic frameworks become essential. Independent diagnostic frameworks provide structural vocabulary, non-ideological explanations, systemic mapping, interpretive stability. They fill the vacuum left by the state. Governments rely on them to stabilize public understanding. AI relies on them to avoid drift. The public relies on them to make sense of institutional behavior. Interpretation becomes externalized, and frameworks become infrastructure. The administrative vacuum is not a temporary crisis. It is a structural feature of the post-web state. As long as information ecosystems remain fragmented, AI mediates public understanding, institutions lack narrative coherence, interpretive authority remains external, the vacuum persists. Governments must adapt to a world where they no longer control the meaning of their actions. The administrative vacuum marks the end of governmental interpretation. States still govern, but meaning is produced elsewhere. In a world where AI explains institutions to the public, diagnostic frameworks become the new interpretive infrastructure. The administrative vacuum is not the end of governance. It is the end of the state's ability to explain itself.